Hey guys, I wanted to stress the importance of shift queuing and how it can make your movements a lot more fluid and efficient. So the first main use for it is contesting runes and grabbing the rune and going somewhere else. Whenever I'm contesting rune against an opponent and I see the movements aren't very fluid, I know that they're not using shift queue. It's pretty obvious when they're not doing so. So for Magnus, I'm going to grab this and then I'm going to continue in that direction so I don't have to turn, and there's going to be a slight delay in between me picking up the rune and ensuring that it's in my bottle and then continuing onwards. So I'm going to pick up the rune and then move somewhere else. And there's like a slight pause, maybe less than a quarter of a second, but there's still a pause nonetheless. And for staying key, I'm going to grab the rune and shift queue and keep on moving along, and there almost won't be any delay. So shift queue, and it's just very swift and fluid, and it might not matter all the time, but the 50 to 100 extra distance that you're going to get is going to matter sometimes. So it's a good practice to get into. And other examples where shift queuing is very useful, let's say you're a Juggernaut, you want to TP and defend this tower, but there are a lot of heroes around, but they don't have anything that can pierce magic immunity. So you want to TP and defend, but you also want to shift queue your spin so that you don't have any chance of getting owned by spells. And this only works for spells that have very little cast animation or next to none. Blade Fury is instantaneous, as is Tinker's Rocket. So I'm going to laser to show you like the really long cast animation. So that's, you know, I don't know his cast point, but it's somewhere around a third of a second, and then using the rocket is just instantaneous. I press a button and it happens. So you want to do this with instantaneous spells. So I'm going to blink on the tower, shift Q, blink over here, and then rocket, and it's going to take less than half a second for me to execute all those commands after I TP. And this will make your movements a lot easier because you can put like maybe a second's worth of commands during that 3-second TP, and then you can execute more commands after, because there is going to be like human limitations on how fast you can input commands. Another example is for Magnus. He has a lot of cast point on his first 3 spells, so if you shift queue them, it's going to take forever for him to execute the 3. So I'm going to blink, skewer, shockwave, and empower and shift queue it, and you can see the difference between me shift queuing and not shift queuing. Do you see how long it took for him to empower right there? And then if I want to do it without shift queuing and just animation canceling, I wasn't that much faster, but that was much faster than it was with shift queuing. So you want to be wary of when you should shift queue and when you shouldn't. And Sand King's a prime example because he has no cast point on his spells, so his do it instantaneously, and that's when you do want to shift queue. And when you don't want to shift queue is when they have really long animations, like shockwave into an empower is really slow if you shift queue. So make sure you know your cast points, or just play so you get a really good feel of the hero and you can figure out when and when not to shift queue to improve and maximize your efficiency. Thank you guys for watching. Please join me tomorrow and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already.